So when you went to Vegas and you went to Denver, what brought you to Fort Worth, Texas? How did you end up in Fort Worth, Texas, Ron?
Well, I have a family here that's real deep rooted in Fort Worth. They are actually from Como. They call it Hills. And they from Como. My ex-wife family's from Como, from Fort Worth. And they still here, and they've been here years, and their daddy was in the military. He went from the military. Mm-hmm. That's how I got here, because my ex-wife family is from here. Whole family.
Whole family from Fort Worth.
But I met her in Las Vegas, though. And then I came here to meet her family, and I found the gold mine.
So your lady at the time was from Las Vegas. You met her in Las Vegas, and then her family is from Fort Worth.
Yeah, when they decided to come back to Fort Worth, she didn't go. She stayed and grew up in Vegas with her stepsister named Kim Lee. And that's how I end up. Oh, and that's how I end up getting here in Vegas.
What was Fort Worth like when you got here, Ron, and what year was that? Because this is like historical facts. This is important.
Right.
A lot of people don't know this.
Well, I can't really say the year, the exact point. I had to ask my ex-wife that, but I do have documents where I got stopped in the airport, and the police, the undercovers took some money from me. I do have, those dates, but just to say a specific date, so I got out of high school in the 80s, like 80 something. Then I went to Vegas in the 80s. But see, one thing about traveling, when you got work, you can afford to travel. See, because I never went and bought no plane ticket to put it in advance. I would go that same day, get a plane ticket, boom, back $400-$500, because that's how much money I had. So I had to get to Texas, overnight, because I had ran out of work, so I had to get back and forth. So I can't really say exactly, what date it was, but I know it was in the 80s. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of these places that these guys call Hooverland and the South Side, North Side, all that, I had already been over there. I had already been pretty much everywhere, because you got to understand, man, I'm coming from California with that work.
Right.
And I'm giving California, it's a thing called, I had things called LA rocks. And all our rocks is 5 times bigger than the little stuff they were selling here. You know what I'm saying? So when I first got here, I used to be over there. I had a club called the Sunset Strip that's right there on Millard. Then I used to be on Little John. And I had a club called Peacock. And then, I just was everywhere getting money. You know what I'm saying? And
what was it like? Like, was it Crips and Bloods here when you got here, Ron?
Yes, it was.
Okay.
It was one blood here that I know. I'm not gonna say that it wasn't, but I brought my uncle with me.
Charlie
Chan. Now, I'm gonna give the Grape Streets, their credit, because how did I know that it was Crips here? Because my brothers and them was going to jail out here. And when they went to jail, Nolan was in jail already.
Grape Street Nolan.
Yeah, no good. They called him no good.
Right.
I bond Nolan out. So I knew it was Grapes here already. Right, Grapes. And the guys I brought 60s. I brought East Coasters.
So were Boot Nose, who did he bring down here?
Well, actually, Boot Nose, I seen a guy on the airplane one day. His name was Chris. He was out of L.A. And he was going to Como. So I asked him. I said, hey, man, where you going? He said, I'm going to Como. He said, I'm messing with Boot Nose now. Because Boot Nose had a thing of gambling. He liked to gamble. So when Boot Nose in L.A., he gambled with Crips and Bloods, I guess.
Right.
So when he was bringing dudes back from L.A. to come to Texas to hang with him. And that's how he had a plug from L.A. too. So when I ran into these dudes on the plane coming to Texas, then I knew those guys was from LA. But I never talked to people in the airport because the police be watching, undercovers. Right. So I used to see them, and I used to be like, okay, he from LA. But when I got here, them dudes had already been going back and forth to LA.
So it was Crips and Bloods in Fort Worth when you got here.
I know Nolan was here.
So what did you think about the town? Like, What went through your mind when you got to Fort Worth?
Date now on Bumble.
Open a Chime checking account in 2 minutes and get paid earlier to enjoy a festive spring.
Well, a lot of these guys was young. You know what I'm saying? They was young. My uncle older than me. My uncle was, see, me and my uncle around the same age, but he a couple years older than me. And he started going out messing with the local guys. But I had already knew some, but I wasn't into a lot of the stuff these dudes in Fort Worth was into. These dudes in Fort Worth was into racing. They was into stealing cars, and they was into racing motorcycles and racing cars. But I never really was into that. I was always into getting that money. They had a big gambling community here.
Right.
Austin, from Austin, Texas. You
The Glass Key.
Yeah, that's those guys they had a big gambling habit. I never really gambled like that. My thing was getting that money 24 hours, and a lot of people didn't know my profession was cooking. So everybody else was gambling, everybody else was riding motorcycles, everybody else was racing cars, everybody else was trying to look fly, whatever. I was into 24 hours getting that bread.
Cooking.
And distributing. That's like in the movie Scarface. That's my main thing I was trying to do. I didn't have time to do all that other stuff.
When you got here, Ron, did you just walk right into doing what you were doing? Or did you have a tour guide? Did somebody show you where to go? Did somebody show you who to talk to? Like, how did you know to get right in the mix to do what you were doing?
Man, let me tell you something. Every block in LA was selling drugs. So when I got out here, everybody was smoking pretty much. Not everybody, but a lot of people was just getting tested. It was like an experiment.
Right.
They said if you hit it one time, you hook. So a lot of people, they was acquisitive. They would say, let me check it out. And then next thing you know, they hooked. So a lot of people was hooked. And when I got here, I didn't have to really do that. I would just tell dudes here, man, if you bring me 3 customers, I give you a free piece. And that's how I got
somebody that was smoking.
Exactly. Or somebody, yeah. Because a lot of people didn't look like they were smoking back then. But they were.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But then let me tell you this. It was some more guys here before I got it. They was from New York.
Some New York guys.
Yeah, it was from New York because my baby mama got a baby by one up. So the New York guys was here before me.
What about when you got here was Billy Ray here?
Yeah, Billy Ray, I just got busted. And there was some guys from Long Beach here too, Kevin and 2 brothers too. We used to play basketball against each other. But I see everybody want to know about who was first, who was second, who was third. But I always try to be truthful with that. But it was guys here. I didn't scope the whole land out just to go take a survey.
Right.
But I do know it was, I know Crips when I see them.
Right.
So when I would see them at the park, or I would see them shooting basketball, I see them with the rims, I knew they was from L.A. And that's how come pretty much then I would ask them, I say, man, what you doing? Oh, I'm doing this. What you got this for? They say, I got this for this. You can't beat my price. I'll holler at you. Like that, so.
In Fort Worth?
Yeah, Fort Worth. Everybody was trying to come in, not everybody. People was coming in trying to make the most money they can make out of what they had.
So is it safe to say, Ron, that I know people look at Fort Worth like a heavy gangbang city and culture, and it was that, but was it also a money getting town? Would you look at Fort Worth like that when you got here and when you just saw what you saw?
Yeah, when I got here, you had Abby was here out of Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
They was getting money. I think Weasel was getting money.
Shout out Weasel, Pops.
Yeah, I had heard a lot about Weasel, Abby, Billy Ray, Little Donnie.
Little Donnie out of Como.
Yeah, all of these guys, I kind of looked up to. But, them guys wasn't gangbangers. They was here, though.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But they was
more like businessman type of guys.
They had businesses because, Donnie was one of the first guys that I seen with a Ferrari.
They said Donnie was one of the first black millionaires in Fort Worth on paper.
Well, you could say that because Donnie lived close to downtown. I think a lot of those guys from downtown must deal with him a lot bit like that. But, Fort Worth is a whole different animal. You know what I'm saying? Because, Stop 6 was more like, it was empty. You know what I'm saying? They had the project, stuff like that. Probably had a lot of vacant houses. You know, it was a lot of vacant houses in Fort Worth. That's why some of the guys that still here, they got a lot of real estate. But I had real estate too. But it was a lot of vacant houses, and a lot of the Latinos lived on the north side.
Right.
They had money too, because I got
Latinos,
partners that's the Mexicans. I got current partners that's from the north side.
At what point, Ron, while you're in Fort Worth, did you realize that the streets had fully consumed you?
Well, what do you mean, like?
Like when it was like, ain't no turning back.
Well, I'm gonna tell you something, man. When you mix cripping and getting money together, ain't no turning back.
So let me ask you